So you may not often think of AI and death in the same sentence, but that's where this story begins. And last month, I received a phone call that after a year-long battle with cancer, my mom was placed on hospice. And as a result, I got on a plane and flew 1,000 miles away from my home to Seattle. And so when I walked in and saw my mother, my heart was split in two because I knew as a daughter I wanted to be there for her, but I also knew that I needed answers quickly. And I reached down, felt something in my pocket, and realized AI could be my death coach. And so what I'd like to do is share this story with you about the journey, because AI is not new to me. I received a certification in artificial intelligence from UC Berkeley. I'm the director of one of the largest charter schools in the nation, and I use AI on a daily basis to solve very complex issues. I work with it to support my teams, and I'm using it to solve different types of data problems. But what this story is about today is how AI became my partner in the journey. So when I was there with my mom, and I was trying to figure out, one half of my heart was all of the logistics. What did I need to know? I didn't even understand what hospice was. And so what is hospice? What did I need to know about this medical terminology? What are all of the things that I needed to know to take care of my mom to make sure she was comfortable? And then I was also trying to figure out the logistics. What is estate law? What is probate? Did Seattle even have a DMV when it's time to sell her car? And so when you're overwhelmed with a lot of different decisions that had to be made very quickly, you turn to the skills that you already have. And for me, that was artificial intelligence. And so I continued to use AI and ask the questions so I could best be prepared to support my mom in the journey. And so as time was going on, I realized that I also just wanted to be a daughter who was grieving the loss of her mother. And so one of the things is I turned to AI and I said, I don't even know what I'm supposed to ask you. What am I supposed to do to support my mom as a daughter of someone who is nearing the end of her life? And it said, well, here's 5 things that you should consider. Number 1, ask her what would make her feel most comfortable. Number 2, ask her if she'd like to look at photo albums with you and share memories. Number 3, ask your mom if she would like to call her siblings and call her friends and say goodbye. Number 4, consider inviting the grandchildren or the children and ask your mom if she wants them to come over and everybody can sit around and tell stories and if she wants to videotape it. And then number 5 is what made me realize that this is not just a robot that's trying to steal our jobs, but what it recommended is, here's a prayer that you could say for your mother as a daughter that might bring her peace. You see, let's talk about what AI means. And in this case, we're talking about a large language model. From a technical perspective, a large language model is literally hundreds of billions of pieces of language that humans have contributed in some way, all inside of one big system. So it is websites, emails, medical journals, obituaries, anything in Reddit. All of these pieces of data have been put into this model, and the model is training itself to sound like human language. And so another way to think of it is that it's not a search engine, and it's not a robot with feelings. But when you ask a question of AI, something like ChatGPT, it is literally going into the large language model, and you can think of it as the world's largest library of human wisdom. That's right. When you ask a question, it is literally predicting what it is that it thinks that you want to hear. So when you ask a question, like you're trying to understand how to explain something, it is looking for patterns in the language to give you the information in a way that sounds human so you can receive it. And it doesn't necessarily give you the answers, and it's not giving you data, but instead, it is giving you the wisdom from all of the other people in the world who may have walked through a journey just like you were walking through and asking the same questions. So AI, in my case, was just a great partner because when I asked AI some questions, I didn't have to worry about hurting its feelings. I would ask AI a question at 3 in the morning and I didn't have to worry about waking it up. And as a matter of fact, when I would ask AI questions, it didn't trauma dump on me and tell me about its mother, how its mother had cancer, or the type of chemo that its mother went through. Instead, it was just a trusted partner that I could use whenever I needed to think, what is my next step? Because if you've ever been in facing a situation and it's really challenging, sometimes you just don't even have enough space to know how to walk through it. And the fact that AI was able to give me such human ideas as a daughter, it was an excellent partner for me. And so what I'd like to do is I would like to show you literally how it worked. So I remember as my mom was getting near the end of her life, one of her last wishes was that she did not want me to be there on her final day. And you can imagine, as a daughter, I was there for 3 weeks straight, caring for her, listening to her, and suddenly I had to honor her end of life wishes. And I was trying to figure out, should she go to a assisted living? Should she go to a nursing home? Should she go to a hospice home? Should we bring in nursing care? And so I was asking these questions to AI, and it even did a comparison for me of all of the different methodologies that we could use to make sure she was supported. And so when we brought in the 24-hour nurses, and the nurse said, I think your mom is getting very near the end, I did what she asked me to do. I got on a plane and I left. And so as I was going to the airport, thinking through all of this time that I've spent with my mom, and now I'm leaving, what was I going to say to my coworkers tomorrow morning? So on Monday morning at 8 a.m., after I've been gone for 3 weeks and I show up at work, how do you explain that to your coworkers? So I literally picked up my phone and I asked AI, how do I do this? So what I'd like to do is show you literally what it said. Tomorrow morning, I'm going back to work. After I've been here with my mom for 3 weeks, caring for her, and she's at the end of her life, how do I explain to my coworkers why I'm coming?
Sure, Sarah. It's actually none of their business, but you could say, I'm respecting my mother's wishes. If they ask a second time, you can repeat, I'm honoring my mother's end-of-life wishes. Remember to take care of yourself too. It's important to find moments of rest, seek support from friends or a counselor, and allow yourself space to grieve.
And it was that simple. AI gave me permission to be human in the moment when it mattered the most. And so what I want to tell you, this story is just not about AI as a death coach. This story is about how you can think differently about technology when you're facing a challenge. What if you have a sister who's been faced with a medical diagnosis of a chronic medical condition, and you're trying to help her figure out all of the possible treatments, and it sounds like a foreign language? What if your next door neighbor lost their job and they're asking you for advice on how do I find a job description, write a resume, and make my cover letter match so I can find a job that will really help my family in a time of need? What if you personally have been struggling with your physical weight? What if you aren't eating well? And if only somebody or something could create a personalized plan to make a difference in your life? See, all of these are different ways that we could use AI. And what I want you to know is that AI is not going to give you all of the answers, but it certainly is going to help you think about the questions. Because my mom was a professor of adult education, and she made it her life goal to inspire adults to learn new things. So if there's one thing that I would like to make sure that we all take away from this talk today, is that you have the ability to tap into the world's largest library of human wisdom at the click of a button. And maybe, just maybe, AI isn't taking us away from humanity, but maybe instead it's bringing us closer to it when it really matters the most. Thank you.